Watching porn will definitely ruin the chances that you have of um, finding something meaningful with your life. I'll tell you why. Before, there was no porn, there was no magazines, there was nothing. So you see old school love stories, it's just one man devoting all his pleasure to this one woman. And he didn't get sexual gratification from something else, somewhere else. So that woman was his temple. And that woman didn't have access to social media back then or dating apps. So the replacement wasn't found like this. So think about it logically, porn and dating apps and social media have collectively ruined the dating market. Either you're a millionaire and you pretty much have all the access in the world, all the access to the most beautiful women, or you're on the way up and you're on the other side of the spectrum. Okay, now I'm not saying this is always the case, but think about it. Watching porn, if you don't watch porn and you get sexual gratification from that one female and one female alone, would you still be in that long distance relationship? Would you still um not put in efforts to make sure that she's happy? Fuck no, because that's the girl that's going to be the mother for your children. You can't go on Instagram and just joke off like this anymore. You can't just text someone else and just go for that woman because social media doesn't exist. Think about it very logically. All the dopamine that you're getting from porn is so good and so easily accessible. Why would you try and buy her gifts and take her places when you can just do this? It's such a bad thing for your future self. You're conditioning yourself to just be like, okay, I'm horny, let's go jerk off. Okay, I'm horny, let's just go to do this. That, let's just say you find the woman of your dreams. Even then, just because you have a porn addiction of how many ever years, it's gonna be so hard for you to come out of that and to think that okay, so this is the woman that I'm gonna be buying gifts for. This is the woman that I'm gonna be taking on dates for, because you don't need the sexual gratification from her and go all this distance and uh, go the extra mile, because you can just jerk off and get the needs that you have from her anyway. If nobody has told you this yet, it's a beautiful time today to quit porn. It will ruin the chances you have of making anything meaningful. You will never be happy in a relationship again. You will never look at women the same way. And one main thing about after quitting porn, as far as I've noticed, is you stop involving yourself in all the dumb talks. You know how when the guys get together as a group and they're like, oh, this girl's tits and that girl has a nice ass and all. You stop enjoying such conversations because you are like, okay, what's the point of all this? I'm out of that mess. I don't watch porn anymore. So if it isn't, if no one has ever told you this and no one's ever urged you yet, it's a beautiful time to quit watching porn. Literally, Ted Bundy said this in his last interview. He said all the sexual predators, all the people that have problem with like sexual harassment, as far as he's seen in jail, they all have one thing in common: they all watch porn. And I'll tell you the logic behind it. It's because of something called desensation. What happens is your regular stimulus that you get from watching porn, when you abuse it for years on end, you get used to that shit. That shit's not no more appealing. And when you continue watching it over and over again, your mind starts to ask you for new types of pleasure. So you go from watching porn to a little more extreme, little more extreme. Finally, you've ended up at like child porn, and you start to get all these urges, these weird fantasies. So whenever you see someone with like a very weird kink, it's most likely that they've fried their oxytocin receptors, and it's most likely that the dopamine that they get from the normal watching porn doesn't really serve them anymore. So they have to do these extreme things, like CNC and like these kind of things is what I'm trying to talk about. um I'm just gonna leave you with this. It's a good time to stop watching porn. There are literally child helplines now. There are literally helplines now to save people who have fantasies and like fetishes about children. Like they have abused their bodies to such an extent that they start to fantasize doing sexual activities with children. It's, again, I'm saying this for the 10th time, it's a good time to watch porn. Stop watching porn right now, because if you don't stop right now, you're going to delay it over and over again to a point where it never really happens, and you're going to have permanent damage, because there's only so much your brain structure changes, and there's only so much that your brain can recover. So if it's been 10 years, the good news is you can quit. It'll take a while. You got to progressively deload watching porn. There's tons of guidelines. I'm not going to get started on that, but it's a good time to stop watching porn. I'm just going to leave you with this. I hope the best Saturday for all of you. It's a good time to stop. It's a good time to stop.